welcome to the Creatives Tarot. My name is Melissa, but you can call me Melissa. I'm a writer, a podcast host, and also a creative entrepreneur. And I love reading tarot cards. I created this channel as a way to share my love and my knowledge with you and show you a little bit about how you can incorporate tarot into your work life, your creative life, and also your personal life. If that sounds like something that you would be interested in, make sure you hit that subscribe button right here down below so that you don't miss out on future content. Now, let's get into today's video, which is a classic pick a card reading. Let's go. So it's October, which means Halloween is coming up, but it also means that a lot of people are preparing for NaNoWriMo. If you don't know what NaNoWriMo is, it is the National Novel Writing Month. It takes place every November, and it is a challenge to the writing community to create a 50,000 word novel in 30 days. So this pick a card is really going to help you determine whether or not you should participate in the challenge, what kind of project you should write, and what you need to do to prepare for a successful NaNoWriMo. Now, there are 3 piles. I want you to look at each of these piles and think about what is calling to you, which one is drawing you towards it, because that means there's a message for you in that pile. The answer lies within that pile. So take a deep breath, calm yourself, pause the video if you need to, and then choose the number or pile that's resonating with you. If more than one is resonating, watch both. Timestamps will be down below in the comments. Hello, Group 1, and welcome to your NaNoWriMo Preptober reading. I'm really excited to go through these piles with you and to share some insight around what you can expect for NaNoWriMo. So the essential question I was asking was, should I even participate? That was the first question we're going to look at. And then if so, what kind of story should I be working on? What kind of project should I be working on? And lastly, what do I need to do to prepare for a successful NaNoWriMo? I'm using a lot of different decks today, so I'm really excited to share those. I have one new deck in here, which is the Archetypes deck by the Wild Unknown. So I do have the guidebook here because that is a new deck. I have only had it for a few days and I'm not 100% familiar with all of the types. So if I need this or I think it'll add more clarity to the cards that came up, we'll flip through the guidebook. All right, let's get started. Really, really excited about this. So the first cards are really going to show us essentially what is it? Like, should you be working on a project? Should you do NaNoWriMo? Okay. Yeah, we got 3 cards here from our True Black Tarot. Just lay those down here. All right, so right away I'm going to say yes. Right away, looking at these cards, I'm going to say yes. You've got some major arcana energy here, the Empress and the High Priestess both showing up. I think about the Empress as mothering and nurturing and birthing. And so NaNoWriMo is all about birthing life to a new project. And so I see this as, yes, like this is something that you have the capacity to take on, the willingness to take on, and it'll be fruitful and successful. When I see the High Priestess, I think about trusting in your instincts and your intuition. I think about the muse as inspiration. So being able to reclaim that sort of personal, private space so that you can hear and listen to your inner voice, listen to your inner muse, and write a story that you enjoy. You've got the 7 of Swords, which the 7 of Swords I often think about as as deception, but also as like a lone wolf energy, this idea of like wanting to go and do it your own. And so there's something here that's coming up that's resonating with me, that's making me think like you may want to do a story about a lone wolf. You may want to do a story about someone who's been deceived or betrayed or is feeling betrayed, feeling like the mouse under this large, heavy weight. That could be something that is driving you. But I also think about in terms of should you work on a NaNoWriMo project, when I see this here, I think about, I still think it's yes. I think there may be some challenges or a lot of distractions coming at you, but you can handle it. And sometimes those are in your mind, right? But I see this energy of like wanting to step away from society, the world around you, and do your own thing. That's the energy that I get with that 7 of Swords card. Let's look at the archetype cards here. Yeah, so you've got the Riddle, and you've got the Anima Mundi, So the riddle card, like to me, this makes me think about, yes, like interconnections. I'm thinking like in terms of what you might want to be writing or creating. There's something here that is allowing you to explore societal concepts, frameworks, new ways of thinking, things that you're sort of frustrated with or feeling trapped with in our everyday society, that you might be able to find some answers and doing a creative project. And maybe that's doing something that's very similar to the topic that's bothering you, but it could also be creating your own world, creating a fantasy novel or a story that allows you to escape or to use metaphors to explore something. But I definitely feel this sense that like it's going to be a complex story, but there's opportunity for you to break through the riddle here to find answers and guidance. The Anima Mundi, this is the last card in this deck. And it's a card that speaks to like accept all and reject nothing, like this embrace of like be open-minded, explore, create, don't put limits or boundaries on yourself. And so again, this makes me feel like because it's the last card, because it speaks to that completion, because it speaks to inclusivity and wholeness and not rejecting anything, that very much feels like NaNoWriMo energy for me. When you're going through that process of trying to write 50,000 words in 1 month, you definitely want to have this, like, I can't reject any idea. Anything that comes to me gets on the page, right? Trusting your instincts, trusting your muse. So I have a sense that this will be a process that is actually really beneficial for your mindset right now and helping you make sense of the world, but also in helping you just get an escape and learn to trust in your instincts and your intuition a little more, because it's going to force you to say yes to things that maybe in other situations you wouldn't have written about or you wouldn't have touched. Let's talk about what this story is and looks like. So we've got a couple of different character archetype cards here that I drew. So these could be a couple of things, right? This could be one card per character. This could be all one character in your story. You could sort of break this up however you feel connected to do so or drawn to do so from your muse. We've got the magical card, and I'll just read the light and shadow attribute here for you. The light attribute is seeing the potential for sacred beauty in all things, the belief that everything is possible. The shadow side of this is pessimism, depression, and disbelief in miracles, believing that energy and action are not required for growth. So that's our child magical. And this may mean that you're like interested in doing something that literally is a magical story, supernatural, fantasy, any kind of element where we're taking the unreal and making it real, tapping into fairies or fae culture, like anything like that might be an actual topic that you include, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. You've got the mediator, right? So this gives me the sense of judgment, but the light attribute here is gift for negotiating fairness and strategy in personal and professional life, respect for both sides of an argument. The shadow attribute for this card is negotiating with an ulterior motive or hidden agenda, either personally or professionally. So you can start to see like these could be, again, building off of each other. This could be the same person or it could be two separate people. You know, when I'm doing antagonists or actually when I'm doing any character, I love to start closer to the shadow attribute so you can see the growth and the progression along the story. But you could also start with a light attribute and work your way to a shadow attribute in terms of explaining why a character is an antagonist or a villain in the story. You have the companion, which is loyalty, tenacity, and unselfishness. But their shadow attributes are betrayal by misusing confidences and a loss of personal identity. So those are some of the characters or character archetypes that may be present, themes that may be present in your story. Let's dig into that a little bit more. Yeah, so you've got the Queen of Pentacles and you've got the World, right? So with the World card and this Anima Mundi, I definitely get a sense that like you might be tempted to write something that's fantasy. You might be tempted to write something that you're creating a totally new world, a fantastical world, in whatever sense or way that makes sense for you. But embrace that. If you're feeling the desire to write something that creative, go for it. It could also mean if you're like, oh, I'm not into fantasy, or I don't like it. It could be a historical piece where you're jumping into a time period that again feels like a different world because it's so unfamiliar to many readers. It could be that you're going really narrow, really niche into a specific world, like you're talking about specifically Wall Street in the 1920s, right? So think about that. And then the Queen of Pentacles, this queen makes me think of gardens. So I'm still thinking about fairies and fae. So if you're interested in magical things, for some of you, I think there's this sense of a fairy. I think of fantasy. I think of a character who has to come into or become the Queen of Pentacles, and what is her journey like in that process? How does she come to terms with this? I don't see this as a character who's a villain, this Queen of Pentacles energy, because the Queen of Pentacles is super nurturing, right? And she's very confident, and she is surrounded by sort of prosperity and wealth and material possessions, but she's also really great at sharing that wealth with others and sharing her resources with others and just creating a safe space and a home. So I don't see her as a villain. I see this as somebody who is a character that like is that somebody that your protagonist needs to grow into or to fill these shoes. Or maybe there's a mother who was playing this role who is lost at the beginning of the book, and the whole journey is like finding a replacement for this person. So yeah, so that's what I'm getting the sense that your story may be about, or some ideas for your story. Let's look at what you might need to be successful here. All right, so you've got, in order to be successful with NaNoWriMo, we've got the tree, so let them go, right? Let it go. And you've got the tower. So with the tree and letting it go, my suggestion to you is if you've tried NaNoWriMo before in the past and you failed, let that go. Let go of the fears, let go of the expectations, let go of the pressure, let go of anything that's held you back in the past, or any failure that you're focusing on and you're thinking, oh, well, like I didn't do this before, so I can't do it now, or I might fail now. Let that go. If you're in a place where you can write down your fears and your insecurities about this NaNoWriMo project, and, you know, fold the piece of paper up and burn it, like that's a great way to release that energy. You can also use sage to release that energy, write the intentions down, but like acknowledge that they exist. I think that's really important. Take the time to figure out what they are and acknowledge them, and then let them go. Find a way to, even if you're just cutting the paper up and throwing it in the trash, let them go. Then the tower, right? Unplug and relax for a spell. So this, I think, is more, again, for prepping and preparing. Make sure that you are taking some deliberate time away from social media, away from technology. Get a piece of paper and plan out your strategy, or give yourself time to really prepare for this process. Unplug and relax. So when I think about that, some of the things that I like to do that are fun brainstorming activities are creating a mood board or a Pinterest board, creating a playlist that will help me get into the mood of the characters. You know, maybe it's baking. Maybe you want to do some meal prep. If you love to cook and like you want to have healthy alternatives throughout NaNoWriMo, do some meal prep. That's something that's relaxing to you. If that's the case, do it and use that time to disconnect and just prepare so that when you get into work mode, you're ready. Okay, we've got the Ace of Cups in reverse and the Two of Pentacles. Yeah, see, with this Two of Pentacles, I'm definitely getting the sense that balance is going to be important for you in terms of being successful in NaNoWriMo. Work-life balance that could be thrown out of whack if you are working full-time and then trying to take on NaNoWriMo, and also having a lot of caregiving or home giving activities. You're a caretaker for someone, whether it's children or family or parents, adults, whatever. Balance is really important for you. So plan on when you're going to write. Make sure you're talking to the people in your life, your loved ones, about what your strategy is and when you need to write and what your goal is, and that they're supportive and on board. and then just see what you can do in advance, right? Make sure you have backup sitters in advance. Make sure that you have a time period for when you're going to write. If you're going to write in the morning at 6 a.m., start getting up at 6 a.m. now, right? Start writing now, even though you're not working on the novel. Start writing just so that you get into the practice. The preparation is going to be key for you in success, and figuring out how to set up systems that work for you. And remember, you don't have to set up or start that system on November 1st. You can set up the system now and practice so that this is old hat. The Ace of Cups, this speaks to relationships, new ideas, new sparks of love and passion. And so this tells me that whatever you write, make sure that you love it. Make sure you're really excited about this. For you guys, don't do an old project that you've been holding on to, this idea that you've had for 3 years or 2 years or 5 years, and you never had time to do it, and now is going to be the year. My guidance to you is to let that project continue to sit on the shelf, and do something new. Like, take the time to, again, when you're relaxing and unplugging, take the time to figure out what a new project could be, and use the excitement and the energy of that new project to get you through the momentum of writing 50,000 words. That's going to be really critical, especially for the first and second week of this project. Yeah, and I'm feeling like you may already have an idea, but you're resistant to do it. You're hesitant to do it because it's, again, in a different genre. It's a different kind of story than you've ever done, or maybe because you're holding on to past failures at NaNoWriMo. And so just let go of that. Let go of those failures. Let go of the pressure. Embrace something new. It'll be okay. You'll get through it. Be bold. Yeah, it'll be okay. Be bold and make the first move. So just know that, like, you can get through this. You can accomplish it. Be bold. Part of the success is just you taking the time to commit it and getting words on the page. Like, focus less on the 50,000 word goal. Just write it. Just sit down and write. Okay, I hope this was helpful. If so, comment in. Write in the comments down below how this was helpful. What are you going to participate in NaNoWriMo based on this reading for group 1? And if so, what's your story about? Or toss your handle in there so that we can find you and be friends on the NaNoWriMo website. Okay, I'm going to move on to group 2. As always, like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content. Hello, Group 2, and welcome to your NaNoWriMo Preptober forecast reading. I'm super excited to go through this reading with you. We're going to be answering 3 questions here in the pile. The first question is, should I participate in NaNoWriMo for 2020? Should I participate for NaNoWriMo in 2020? The second question we're going to be dealing with is, if so, what kind of project should I be writing or creating? And then lastly, we're going to look at how should I be preparing to embrace NaNoWriMo? What can I do to prepare to be successful in NaNoWriMo this year? So I do have a new deck, so I have a guidebook sitting out just in case I need that. But we'll go through and answer some of these questions for you. All right, so the first question was, oh wow. Should you participate in NaNoWriMo this year? Oh, goodness. Right off the bat, this is a hard one. I see this 5 of Pentacles here. The 5 of Pentacles, I always think about hardship. I think about being lost, feeling left out, financial stress and poverty, illness, and misfortune. All of that is tied to the 5 of Pentacles. It means lack of resources, lack of material resources and prosperity. And so I think for some of you, there may be some economic hardship right now, right? Maybe you lost a job, a loved one has lost a job. Maybe you are dealing with health issues, something related to the pandemic. But I get the sense that there's a lot of pressure on you right now because of the situation in 2020, financially, physically, with your health, with your living situation. So that's going to make this challenging right off the bat. You're coming to this in a mental place that is going to make this a little bit challenging. The other thing that I'm seeing is like these two cards are both in reverse, and you've got the Two of Cups and the Ace of Pentacles, right? And so that Ace of Pentacles, it makes me feel like, again, there's seeds of things that you can be doing or starting traditionally when I see that card that are going to bring you wealth and prosperity. But this is in reverse. So I'm thinking like something is blocking that. So you may have an idea for a project, but you may also have something that's competing that is going to help you with this Five of Pentacles card and energy and help you in that situation. I'm just getting the sense that there are other actions that you could be taking, other projects that you can be working on that are going to be revenue generating for you, that are going to put some ease on some of this financial stress. That's for some of you. I feel like there's an idea there, there's a project there. It's going to take a lot of time and attention and maybe even some physical labor that could, again, be a distraction for this NaNoWriMo project this year. And I'm also seeing the Two of Cups. Usually the Two of Cups represents union and happiness and partnership and joy. You see the broken arrow, and I think of that as like the broken weapons. Like there's unity now instead of war and tension. But what I'm feeling with this blockage is that you're feeling alone. You're feeling like you don't have a reliable partner. And maybe that financial hardship is causing strain on your relationship with your partner or spouse or loved one. Maybe you're just feeling alone because you're single and you're not in a relationship, and you're battling with anxiety or depression, which is very common right now. It's a very tense year. 2020 has been a very difficult year for many, many people. And so the first thing I will say is like, if you're in this position, if this sounds like you, know that you are not alone. Know that many, many people are also feeling this way. And I don't think this card wasn't in reverse and you've got two in reverse. So that's making me think that it's not an absolute no, right? So don't listen to this and think, okay, well, now I can't even do this writing project because it's going to be too much because the cards are telling me not to do it. But my intention here is to say, this is the energy that's around you. And you can either embrace that energy and say, you know what, like I'm going to have an honest conversation with myself and realize that this is too much for me to take on right now. And it's okay for me to sit out or to do something else with my time and my energy that's not going to add to this mental strain. If you do decide to pursue, what I would say is like, make sure you're prioritizing your mental health and self-care, right? That you're not doing something that's going to add to this anxiety and this frustration. I think there's planning and there's very deliberate strategies of like knowing yourself as a person, know your Enneagram type, understand who you are and what's going to trigger you and what's not, and make sure that you're creating a story and a world and goals that are not going to be triggering for you, and really put you in a worse sort of mental health space. Look at that. You've got the Tear and you've got the Mother. And when I think about the Tear card here, I think about sadness. I think about grieving. There is some loss that like maybe you're going through grief, and it's okay to go through grief. And you can use NaNoWriMo to help you process that grief. That is okay. I would just say like, make sure you are having the difficult conversations as you're going through this and you're acknowledging really where you are mentally before you take this on. Don't take this on because you think like this is going to be a great way for me to get ahead in work responsibilities or deadlines that I already have, like saying like, oh, I've been procrastinating and this is going to get me to catch up on writing my blogs or to get ready for this deadline or this new competition, right? Don't do that. Don't put that added pressure on yourself of connecting your NaNoWriMo project to money, and your career and how you're earning your living. So that's something that I'm feeling really strongly here. The Mother, maybe some of you have lost a mother recently, and not having that supportive mother role is really getting to you. And so again, like look for people who have the mothering energy who can support you. If you are going to do this, I would say, join the message boards and the forums, or create a buddy support group list that you can have somebody else, another partner who's doing NaNoWriMo too, who can cheer you on. Surround yourself with a community that can provide some of that nurturing, mothering energy so you don't feel so isolated and alone. So you feel like you have a partner in this work. And if you're grieving a mother, there's nothing wrong with stepping back and allowing yourself to grieve any kind of loss. This could also be, for some people, I do want to call this out. For some people, I think that they're not grieving in terms of like death, but I think that you're dealing with a difficult partnership, like your spouse, your partner, your significant other, somebody in your life that you're very close to, is not supporting you, right? You're not on the same page. There's tension. Maybe you're not communicating, you're not connecting. I think it has to do with money. And this tier card coming up tells me that you have to have a difficult conversation with them. It's time to have that conversation. And if you want to move forward on NaNoWriMo, you definitely need to have that conversation with them to take off some of the burden and the anxiety, because that weight that you're carrying is going to impact your ability to write. You're going to hit writer's block. You're going to be frustrated. You're not going to be excited about the story. And writing can be a great therapeutic tool, but you have to be able to be honest and open with yourself and recognize that it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel sadness. It's okay, but you have to acknowledge that. So I just want to put that out there for some people. I think that is a message that's coming through. If you decide to work on this project, let's look at what the NaNoWriMo story or project could be about. So you've got the Fool card came up, the Messiah card came up, and the Damsel card came up. And these cards are really meant to be like, they could be different characters for each archetype or character. These could be overall themes in your story that you're working on. They could also be like one specific person, like this could be your protagonist. So it really is up to you, and just take whatever resonates and you think, oh yeah, like I'm definitely telling a story about somebody, with this Messiah complex. I'll read these off to you because I know it's hard to see on camera. The Fool, their light attributes are fearlessly reveling in emotion and helping people laugh at the absurdity and hypocrisy. Shadow attributes are using humor to wound rather than liberate, a denial of your emotional truth. Also think about the Fool in the tarot deck, somebody who's new, naive, going on a journey for the first time. They're excited, but they're really not prepared for what lies ahead. The Messiah, serving humanity with humility. And then the shadow attribute of this is exaggerated belief that you are the only means through which a cause can succeed. You're the only savior. You're the only path, right? And then this Damsel card, which is understanding the nature of healthy romance. It inspires you to rely on yourself. The shadow attribute here is waiting for a knight to provide for you. Seduction by romantic illusion. So yeah, take what resonates with you and set aside the rest. Let's see what else is coming through. Yeah, 8 of Swords, 3 of Pentacles, and 9 of Wands. So the 3 of Pentacles, I'm definitely getting a sense of collaboration here. And this is still, this right here doesn't necessarily feel like what you're writing so much as like how you can get through this. And that 3 of Pentacles, to me, it's saying like you need a support system. So if you are going to do this, make sure you have supports in place. Make sure you're on the message boards, you're talking to people, go to Facebook groups, follow people on different channels. I know our podcast, the Writing Easy podcast, is going to be doing a couple of different episodes around NaNoWriMo and participating in it. So like find those communities where you can engage and talk to people and not feel so isolated and alone. That is going to be play a huge role in your success. The 8 of Swords, right? This is about somebody, I feel like, who's being tied up, who's confined, who's under illusions, who's living in a fog of illusion. And then you have the Nine of Wands, which is in reverse. And that's like this idea of this fighter, somebody who's coming to the end of the journey, still has a major obstacle to overcome. They've been beaten, they've been bruised, they're tired, they're weary. This is an intense kind of story. And so what I'm getting here is that you should pursue something that you are going to enjoy, something lighthearted, especially with this card. It's just telling me don't do something that is going to weigh you down. Don't do something that feels like a challenge. Don't do something too heavy or too serious because you need that break. You need this distraction. And I'm just getting this energy, especially with that damsel card and the fool card, that this is a lighter story. Maybe it's a different genre. Maybe it's a romance or comedy or just a silly, fun fan fiction novel. But like, yeah, and fan fiction with the Three of Pentacles, I could see that, a fan fiction novel. And that's okay because, again, writing for you, I think this time is going to be more about therapy and healing and an escape from your everyday situation right now. It's not going to be about making money. It's not going to be about selling the best book. Let that go aside. Yeah, it's not going to be high stakes. Like, really, this is going to be about feeling freed, not feeling confined. All right, what can you do to prepare? Which justice is coming. Bitch fire, stand up for yourself. Okay, so the witch with justice is coming, right? Like, I'm just getting the sense that for you, the story is going to be freeing. For you, this story is about like reclaiming yourself as a writer, as a creative, right? It's not just about putting words on the page. This is about you having fun again. This is about karma. Like, you've gone through some dark times. The light is coming. The justice is coming. The payoff is coming. So have faith in that and know that like you can do something different. You can do something lighthearted. It's okay to do that. And when I see this, the bitch fire, stand up for yourself. Again, I'm going back to that partner energy here, right here, this partner energy. And here we go, the tear. Like, yeah, you need to stand up for yourself. Whatever's going on, if you're in a hostile work environment, if somebody's taking advantage of you, if your partner does not support you, you need to have that real conversation. You may need to even cut the cord if you want to be successful, but there's definitely a sense that like you need to be able to stand up for yourself. And I think that's why your story and the story that you're drawn to is not one that's about a warrior and a fighter, because you're in the fire, you're fighting, like, and you don't want to write about that because you're living it day to day, and it's too raw, it's too emotional. This damsel card too, this idea of like waiting for a knight to provide you, to provide for you, learning about healthy relationships. I'm just getting the message for someone out there. They need to hear this, right? This is about a bigger thing than just your creativity. It's about your life choices and partners. So you just pay attention to that, right? And if that's you, let me know. I'm sending energy your way. I know that's heavy. But if that's you, know that you're not alone. And there's so much power and there's so much justice in standing up for yourself, standing up for what you deserve. Other cards here. Yeah, Six of Cups, the sun. Look at that. I promise you the sunshine is coming. I promise you the joy is coming. This is Leo energy to me. And it's like standing out in the sun, standing in your brightness, standing in your glory. But you have to stand up for yourself to get here, right? You have to keep walking through the valley of the shadow, right? You've got to do that to get to the sunshine. But it is there. I promise you it is there. And it is waiting for you to claim it. But you have to acknowledge that that's what you want. The Six of Cups makes me think about youthfulness and reminiscing. And there's definitely that connection there. Maybe it's a parent relationship. But there's definitely a sense of wanting to connect. And yeah, that parenting relationship, right? We had the mother. So again, maybe you're longing for a mother. Maybe you're longing for your mother right now. You feel like you wouldn't be in this situation if you had a stronger relationship with her. or if she was still alive and present and there to guide you and comfort you, know that there are people out here who love you, who really do, and really focus on that energy you had as a child, the brightness that you had as a child, and something that you were really passionate, and write about that. Write about the things that bring you joy. Write about the things that bring you closer to your mother, if that's for you, and your mother has passed on and you're missing her and reminiscing about her. That is going to get you through this project. Yeah, take time out to breathe. Breathe out, relax. I'm going to say this, and I think it's really important for you to hear this. Meditation, affirmation, words of positivity, build that into your routine as you move forward. Whether or not you do NaNoWriMo or not, I'm really going to encourage this group to set aside some self-care practices and specifically focus on meditation, and using some breathing techniques, even if it's only for 60 seconds or 2 minutes, right? Set the timer, close your eyes, take off your shoes, let your feet hit the floor, hit the ground, ground yourself, and think about something that makes you joy, brings you joy, right? And just picture those moments. Give yourself that space and that time to connect and to heal your inner child, your inner wounds, and connect, right? Connect with your spirit, connect with your intuition, connect with your muse. If you can't write 50,000 words, that's okay, right? Get rid of those goals and just write for the sake of writing, because that's going to heal you. Think about doing morning pages as well. That could heal you, right? Maybe it's not, I need 50,000 words. Maybe it's every morning for November, I'm going to write 3 pages, and I'm just going to journal or do therapy as my morning pages, and that's where I'm going to end up. And that's a goal for me. That's success for me. That's okay. You can do that. You call the shots. Group 2, if this is you, I really hope that this reading resonated with you. I want to encourage you to go down in the comments and let me know what was helpful, what was insightful. What did you decide to do? Did you decide to write a project, or did you adapt to the NaNoWriMo rules in order to find more success and to ease some of the tension and anxiety? I also want to just be able to send you love. So if you're in group number 2, comment down below. Let me know what resonated so that I can send you energy and positivity and light and love over the course of November, regardless of whether you're doing NaNoWriMo or not. Also, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future content. Let's go to group 3. Hello, group 3, and welcome to your NaNoWriMo Preptober reading or forecast. I'm so excited that you are here today, and I can't wait to dig into these piles. The readings have been so on point lately, so I can't wait to see what's in this pile for group 3. Just as a reminder, we're going to answer 3 basic questions with this reading. The first being, should I participate in NaNoWriMo? Should I participate in NaNoWriMo this year? The second question being, if so, what should I write? What should I create? What kind of story should I be focused on? And then lastly, we're going to dig into the question of, how do I prepare? How do I best prepare to be successful at NaNoWriMo? So I can't wait to get started. Like I said, this is group 3. Let's go. Let's look at these first cards here. So these first cards are really, they're sticking together, addressing, should you do NaNoWriMo this year? Should you do NaNoWriMo this year? And let me show you what you got. You've got the Chariot, you've got Justice, and you've got the King of Swords. So I'm getting a sense of yes, right? You've got 2 upright cards. You've got, again, more major arcana energy. And so the Chariot often to me speaks of victory, winning, champions, competition. I think of gladiators, warriors, people returning home from battle, valiant, successful, and celebratory. And so this is energy that's like, hell yes, you should be doing this. You're going to be successful. You're totally capable of doing this and kicking some butt and winning. And you're in the right mind space. You're not allowing distractions. You know, this Chariot has a blindfold over its eyes. You're not allowing distractions. You've got blinders on. You're focused on exactly what you need to do, and you don't even need to see it because you got muscle memory. I just feel like you maybe have done NaNoWriMo before. If not, like you're prepared, you're ready. You can take this on, and you've got the skills and the resources and the competency to do this. We've got the justice card here too. And again, thinking about this is like a factual thing for you. You're looking at the facts. You're like, I've done this before. I'm capable of writing. It's not very much. It's 1,600 words a day. You're looking at the facts, weighing the pros and cons, and everything's tipping in the favor of yes, do it, right? You're not doing this based out of emotion. This is a very practical decision for you. This may even mean that you're tying this to a work project or career project. Maybe you're getting the sense that this is some of our professional writers or writers who have more experience. This is not your first go around in writing a novel. You may even be in a position where you're like, I'm doing NaNoWriMo, but I've done this enough that I'm calling my own shots and I'm actually working on a screenplay or a biography, or, you know, I've already started a project, but I'm going to do 50,000 words on this new project or this project that's midway started. You're kind of a rebel, a rule breaker. You're not paying attention to the rules. Some of you, I just feel that sense with this justice card. You're like, it doesn't matter as long as it's fair, right? Like, I feel like you might be playing on your own rules and be comfortable with this. You've got the king in reverse, the king of swords in reverse. This is all about big picture strategy. You know, again, I think you're trying to be really strategic about the story you tell, about the project that you work on. This may make it a little challenging. It may make it limiting. But I think you're going to take this in a practical way of like looking at what's on your plate, what are the pros and cons, wanting to have a schedule. All of that is going to come into play. I also wonder too, with the strategy and justice, like how this will bleed into this type of story that you write. So I'm going to keep that. There's something, I'm just getting energy here right now that you might want to write a story that's about politics. And it doesn't necessarily mean it has to be US politics or current events, but it could be you're writing a fantasy or a science fiction novel or something that's looking at larger institutions, something that's looking and speaking to justice, something that's speaking to culture and the systems and infrastructures and institutions we put into place and rule and democracy. There's something here about like this feels like already an epic kind of heady project. Let's dig a little further. Yeah, the thread. Look at that, the sword, lots of swords. I'm just going to say like every single one of these, well, I guess this one doesn't, but these three all have swords, and you have the thread. With the thread of being about like the connection to things. So like you're definitely wanting to write a story that is connected to things that are in your everyday life, your real life, your emotional psyche. You're trying to pull that in. And you're recognizing this. You're recognizing that things are connected even when they don't seem to be. Again, I think if you're writing a fantasy novel or creating and building a world, there's something there about like wanting to be a metaphor for issues that are important to you right now. The sword, I think this can come up, you know, for me, I think of this as a choice between good and evil, right? I think of this as light and dark, good and evil, fighting and battles and wars and sides. And so I feel like this is going to be a very traditional story with like an archetype of like your protagonist and your antagonist, or your hero and your villain. Somebody's going on a journey or quest. I think it has to do with people who are, I don't know. I don't want to get into that yet. I'm going to hold on to that thought, but I feel like there's that's there. And so if that's attractive to you, take it. But I also think this is about, for some of you, this is about making a choice, right? And it could be about making a choice between doing a really heavy, serious story and doing something that's light and fun. And that could also be where you're thinking about big picture and strategy. And you're probably thinking like, does this fit my brand? Is this something I could self-publish that my current fan base is going to like? Is my manager, editor, or agent going to like this? Or do I do something that's different, but I think could be really powerful? I think that's where you're running into decisions here. More info on what type of story you might write. Yeah, look at that. You've got your Avenger, and you've got your Angel, and you've got your Artist. Yeah. And I just have this sense like both the Avenger and the Angel fit into that good versus evil kind of mentality or space. These are archetypes. So these could be themes or characters that are carried through your book. This could be all specific to one character. It could be divided. And so each character could have one of these archetypes. It really is up to you and what's speaking to you. I just feel for some people, the artist is actually you. I feel like the artist is actually you, and you are a powerful, wordsmith and storyteller. Again, I feel like this is not your first story. You have the skills and the tools to tell a meaningful story in a way that both entertains, but also informs and educates and breaks down stereotypes that can be just really powerful and lasting. That's a lot of pressure to put on something that you're writing in 30 days. But I have the sense that like this is an epic project. The project won't be complete in 30 days, but that you will have a good start on a novel that is really important to you and really significant. And, in a year or two, when you're done and you've gone through all the revisions, could be really monumental for readers and develop a huge fan base and a huge following. The Avenger, I'll just read this to you real quick. So, the light attributes for our Avenger card are the desire to balance the scales of justice, the righteousness on behalf of society and oneself. The shadow side of this is resorting to violence in the name of a cause, right? So, Avenger. Maybe you're writing an Avenger fanfic novel. Angel. So the light attribute for this is helping those in need with no expectation of return. And the shadow attribute is acting innocent or angelic to mislead others, falsely claiming to be in touch with angelic guidance. And then our artist is expressing dimension of life that is just beyond the five senses, inspiring others to see life symbolically. The shadow attribute is using talent as an excuse to mistreat others, posing as a starving artist to elicit pity. Let's get some more here. The devil and the page of wands. Yeah. So again, this theme of good and evil with the devil card. You may be writing a story that has a devil or a fallen angel, and it's the story of this character. Very epic. A king, like a reversed king, power. I'm feeling a lot about power and justice. This could also be like a legal thriller, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be fantasy or has to be supernatural or have to be religious. It could be, speaking to legal justice. But with the devil, often, you could think about evil and cruel acts and the devil himself, but you could also be writing about people who are indulging in things, who are indulging or overindulging in different habits or traits like lust, like sin, like whatever, gluttony, like greed, like dealing with some of those different traits. Addictions also fall in here. So there may be a character with an addiction or a vice that they're abusing. And then the Page of Wands, this is in reverse. So this makes me think like this character or someone in the story is not grounded, right? And that fits in place with the devil too. It's like they have a lot of passion, they have a lot of energy and power. They don't know how to use it yet, and they're really struggling. Like they're not grounded to anything. So that power gets manipulated, it gets taken advantage of, it gets used in the wrong way. So that feels like the shadow energy there of where these characters starts. Yeah, and let's look at what else you need to be successful in NaNoWriMo. Do it for you, and ending is inevitable. So you're going to be successful. Like that there's just no question about it. You should do NaNoWriMo. You should write something that you're excited about. Do it for you. Tell the story that you want to tell. Don't get so obsessed in the strategy of how it's going to fit into your portfolio. Write the story that you want to write, that you're passionate about, and know that it will find its home when it's done, because it's going to be so amazing and so powerful, and the ending is inevitable. The ending is inevitable. You're going to be successful. Like, don't worry or stress about that. You're completely capable of doing it. Yeah, I just see that. know that the ending is coming, and it will come. You will be successful. Three of Wands. Yeah, prepare for the journey. The Three of Wands. So this is in reverse, but the Three of Wands, I often think about new journeys, new starts. And so, because this is in reverse, I would say don't get overconfident, right? You still need to plan. You still need to prepare. Make your spreadsheets. You sound like somebody who's in love with data and numbers and structure, and really logical. And so I'd say get your trackers. You can try, I think it's called pacemaker.press. That is a tool that will allow you to track and see the data of your progress and set different word counts for different days. It's fantastic. You can also use something like Scrivener to set targets and daily word counts. You can use the NaNoWriMo website to track your daily counts, or you can create and download different Excel trackers that I've seen floating around throughout the years. So find your tools, figure out how much words you're going to do daily. Make sure you're taking time to make exceptions for the weekends or for Thanksgiving or holidays or other things that where you're like, I know I'm not going to be able to write on that day. Adjust. But I think if you give yourself a plan and do a little bit of prep work, and you'll be fine. Again, the Five of Pentacles. Five of Pentacles usually speaks to lacking something. And so I would just say in this case, you may feel alone during a period, especially like midway through. You may feel like, what am I doing? I'm the only one doing this. Why am I doing this? I'm not even going to be able to sell it. Like, you may start to have some doubts and insecurities. And what I would say here is, like, you're not on the outside. Make sure you're connecting to your community. You have the key. You have everything that you need. So make sure that you're connecting and embracing other people who are participating in NaNoWriMo. Also think about this as like, you don't have to carry every single ball during these 30 days. It's okay to order takeout. It's okay, do some meal prep here so that you don't have to be in the kitchen all the time or you're not stressing. It's okay to pause on housework and have a messy house. It may give you a little bit of anxiety, but just know that like that's completely and totally normal. And you, again, you have the keys to get through this, and it's okay to feel like, oh, like I haven't done some of the traditional things I normally would have done this month. And because I'm committing to working on this project. Hold to your vision. Hold your vision. That's my last piece of advice to you from the spirits, from the source, from the cards, is hold on to your vision. Again, I feel like this is an epic story inside of you. This is Star Wars epic. This is Harry Potter epic. This is one of those stories that sits around that becomes a mainstream name when people hear it and they think, oh yeah, Gone Girl, oh, Forrest Gump. Like, they just know these movies, they know these stories, they resonate with them. And I feel like you've got a big vision, and it may feel overwhelming at times, but if you stick to that vision, you'll be fine. Stick to the vision that you had and you'll be fine. This also may mean create a mood board. I'm just getting that sense, like create a mood board, a couple of mood boards, use them, put them on your desktop as a screensaver, put them on your phone, put them places where you can see. If you need to put them in a PowerPoint so you can flip through it, put music to it, make a Spotify playlist. I love doing that too, which helps you ground yourself. When it's time to write and get into the mood and the ambiance of the character, do those things so that you can continue to see your vision as you're going through. That is really going to help you here when you're struggling. And I feel that struggle is going to be midway, right? That's the halfway hump. When you get into that second act and you're like, what the hell am I writing? That's when you need to be able to cling to the vision of like, what was my original intention and goal here? And have that to get inspired. All right, that's the end of this reading. I hope it was helpful. If so, leave a comment down below and let me know what resonated with you. Are you planning on doing NaNoWriMo now after this reading? And I want to know. I want to know what your project's about. I want to know if you're successful. You could also find me on Instagram and social media and follow me. I'm going to be doing NaNoWriMo too. And so I would love to cheer you on and celebrate you all the way to victory. That's it. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on future content, including other videos where I talk about my own NaNoWriMo experience. Take care.